All right, good afternoon and welcome to episode 11 of OneShot, Tbreak's very own podcast for tech, gaming, movies, and everything under the sun. Today I'm joined by my colleagues Abbas, Sam, and Mufaddal. How are you guys?
Hello. All
Hey,
good?
all doing well.
Yeah, all good. Yesterday was a big day, Abbas.
Exhausting
Apple,
day.
Huawei, exhausting, absolutely exhausting.
Yep,
Only
we
to come
had
home and
Samsung as well, which then canceled at the end
uh,
minute, which was good.
Yeah. So, for a little backstory here, we had three events on the same day. Obviously, Apple had a global event. Huawei as well had a global event, but
hmm
here in the UAE, and we had Samsung as well. I must say, I
Yep.
give Huawei respect because they just like stood their ground and they're like, no, we will stay right there. Samsung was like, it's a local event. Let's back away. Let's just move away from this. But that's what we're discussing today. We're discussing the Apple event, the iPads.
Mhm.
We're discussing Huawei, their products, and we're discussing a bit of movies and gaming as well. So let's jump right in.
Let's
Sounds
do
good.
it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So starting with the Apple event, Abbas, why don't you just give us a bit of a brief of what the event was?
Sure. So, no surprises here. Everyone knew the new iPads are coming for, I don't know, a month ahead of the launch, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what we got with it. Apple's obviously updated their entire iPad lineup. Tim Cook came on stage and gave some good excuses on Apple Vision Pro and the, massive inventory that he's hiding behind those closed doors, saying enterprises are now looking at Vision Pro because seriously, nobody in the consumer side is buying them. I am not kidding you. I think just last week when I was looking at prices on Dubizzle, 9,000 dirhams. That
Oof.
is like almost $1,000 below Apple's recommended pricing on it. So it doesn't look like many people are buying it. Anyways, the event's focus was quickly shifted to iPads, where we have tons to talk about. So shall we just get started with that?
All right. So starting with the first one, and I think that this is going to be the one that's most interesting to the average user out there, which is the Air. Now,
hmm
I personally like this is my Air. I've been using it since the first day it launched. Whatever the last time there was an iPad Air launch, this, the fourth generation that was, and I think it's a stellar device. The new one has a great amount of updates, and the first thing is my exact issue with it, which is that we now have a 13-inch
Yeah.
iPad Air. So I think that is really good because someone like me who like let's say wanted the Air but couldn't, you had to get the Pro for the larger size, right? So I'm really happy about this new size. I think that it's a good size, especially if you're out and about, you're working, you have the keyboard with you. I think that sort of 13-inch fits that nice portable size.
Yeah, I think Apple's streamlining sizes across their entire portfolio, right? They introduced the MacBook Air as well in a larger size, which a lot of people really wanted.
Right.
So now we get the iPad Air on a larger size as well, which again, I'm with you completely. I think this is probably the best size. And if I was to guess out of all the tablets they released slash updated yesterday, my guess is that this 13-inch iPad Air would probably be the best selling one.
I would agree. I would agree. I think that the iPad Air is one of those perfect in between products where it fits the bill of sort of what's required for the average Joe. And listen, it's not like it's not powerful. The new one has the
Hmm.
M2 chip in it, so that's not like
A
that's
slouch
definitely
by any
that's not a
stretch of the
slouch. Thank
imagination.
you, Sam. That is not a slouch by any means whatsoever. But yeah, I wanted to get Sam or Muff in here. Did you guys watch the event? Any interest in the airs?
Uh, I did not watch. Not too much interest in the iPads, and
Okay.
and I just caught up and okay. I mean, it really is just a spec upgrade. There's nothing to it,
Okay.
and I don't see why one should be too excited about them. It's just spec upgrade. My 2018 iPad Pro,
Okay.
right? Works fine, works super smooth.
Right.
So I don't see what benefits this new chipsets will bring to an iPad, because the OS is the same, the apps are the same.
Yeah, it's
Huh?
definitely massive amounts of incremental upgrades. But Sam, you were saying?
I mean, if Muff, you watch the presentation, it's up to 50% faster. So that is the
Wow.
improvements it would
No
provide.
way.
No, for me, honestly, the main thing that I saw that I was like, okay, that's cool, is the landscape camera. Because that was
Yeah.
always the thing, like, it's the portrait aspect ratio. Now it's like, okay, more productivity orientated landscape. But I'm the same. I mean, I consume content on my mobile. Maybe if it's
Mhm.
lighter, given the form factor. But
Right.
my use case for iPad has always been like put it in the car and then have it
Okay.
as like that portable option. So I'll check them out. It looks good.
Fair. Then moving forward to the iPad Pros. Abbas, you had thoughts. So why don't you tell us first about let's just start with the size. What are the sizes of the new iPads?
So again, sort of streamlining, you get 11 inches and 13 inches, which is similar to what Apple had before. We had 11 inches and 12.9 inches. So yay, we've got 13 inches now. That's not a huge size upgrade. So from a size perspective, they're pretty much the same. What is impressive is how thin these guys are.
Right.
5.1 millimeters. That is insane. I'd love to sort of see one in person.
Yeah.
Apple says it's the thinnest device they've ever made, and they compared the iPod Nano, which was the previous thinnest device that they'd ever make. So this one overtakes that, which I think in
Yeah.
a 13-inch device with that thin of a, I don't know how easy it's gonna break. You know,
Yeah, I was just
I don't
thinking
know.
bend gate.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how strong they've made it, but it looks incredibly thin. I'd love to sort of, use that in person.
It does. I mean, listen, 5.1 millimeters, that's half of a regular smartphone. That's half
Yeah.
of that.
So the Apple Pencil that sticks on it is thicker than the
Yeah.
iPad now. So
Yeah.
that is crazy.
That is really crazy.
0.9
Also
pounds.
also from a weight perspective. So they've
Right.
reduced the weight, which to me is funny because now the iPad Air is heavier than the iPad Pro. You'd think the iPad Air should be lighter, but throw logic out of the window on that one. But yeah, I mean, it's incredibly thin, incredibly light, and then let's discuss some of the tech that powers it.
So as far as the displays are concerned, I think that this whole thing they've got of Tandem OLED. So what is Tandem OLED? They say that they've put two OLED screens together, one on top of the other, and because it's the M4, it can handle that. At the end of the day, they're doing what every sort of display brand is doing, which is trying to keep OLED but get that nice high brightness.
Right.
So over here, I think we've got 12,000 nits or 1,000 nits. I'm not sure.
1,000
What was
nits.
it?
Yeah,
Peak
1,000
brightness
nits.
is
Oh, there we go. Thank you, producer Mara. So we've got 1,000 nits there, and peak is 1,600.
1,600. Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. It'll look really nice. They've also got the nano ceramic coating on the higher end ones, on the 1 and 2 TB models, but I'm not sure how necessary that is. They showed this exact example that we're showing here on the video, which is basically people in sunlight and needing that anti-reflectivity, but it'll come at the sacrifice of contrast and clarity. But so I'm not sure about the nano texture part, but as far the direction they've taken with the displays, super excited. I think everything's gonna look awesome.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't make sense to have this high-end dual OLED screen and then put a matte display on top
Yeah.
just to kind of, go completely boom on that. So it just
Yeah, I
doesn't
agree.
make sense.
Maybe it's one of those things where, again, someone hyper-focused with a purpose, like, I don't know, some sort of film producer knows that this particular iPad's only going to be outdoors, so maybe they pay that little extra money, something on those lines.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can really think of which would where someone would accept that sacrifice. But yeah, apart from that, we've also got like I mentioned, we've got the M4 on it. Abbas, you weren't too happy that the M4 is on the iPad Pro. Explain.
I'm not too happy about everyone who purchased a MacBook Pro in the last 6 months, because what they've done is they introduced the M3 on the MacBook Pro literally just 6 months ago or something. And
Right.
here comes the iPad, which, as Muffy claims, his 2018 iPad is still running beautifully fine, but we have this latest greatest chipset on it, which is the M4. This is built on the second generation 3nm process on TSMC, and my guess is that the reason Apple did that is because TSMC that manufactures these processors is moving away from the first generation. First generation always has, I'm not going to say issues, but the yields and stuff that they learn from it. It's not necessarily the one that you want to move forward with everything for. So my guess is TSMC itself is sort of moving away from that. And I don't think they're going to produce any more of those older generation processors, or the M3s, in other words, which is why Apple figured, okay, let's just go ahead and jump on the M4 with this one. And Apple told us that it's got what's that, neural cores? Is that what they were talking about? Neural engine, right? I mean, we've had that on our phones forever now.
That was peak Apple. That was Apple at its best. Like, I laughed so hard where they're like, so, everyone's discussing AI, and what is AI? It's nothing more than a neural engine. And we've had neural engines since A11. And I was like, trust Apple to take something that the whole world is working and be like, we've had it forever. Then why didn't you claim it? Why are you claiming it now?
Yep.
But yeah, that's Apple for you.
Yep.
So yeah, then to attach to these new iPads, we also have the new Magic Keyboard, which I'm super excited for. I've wanted a metallic keyboard since the day I had, I don't know which iPad, and I bought the Bridge keyboard. I don't know if you remember that, Abbas.
Yes, I do.
The Bridge with a Y, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
The metallic keyboard, it was beautiful. It was just like having a touchscreen Mac sort of feeling. It was really nice. So I'm excited to see that here in this metallic form, because apparently the keyboard feels really good based on like other people who were at the event who saw it. It apparently feels really nice.
So, okay, a couple of things here real quick, right? I mean, the entire, correct me if I'm wrong over here, but what he said when he introduced the keyboard is that the palm rest or the wrist rest is made of metal. So it's just that bottom part, right? The top part of it is still not aluminum or whatever else that they're doing. That's what he said. That's what I heard him say. So it's literally that bottom part where you have, the aluminum bit. Again, I could be wrong on this. Let's check up on that, but at least that's what I heard. The second thing is that they said it's got a larger trackpad. Now, I've used the 12.9-inch iPad Pro with the keyboard and the trackpad, and to me, that was completely fine. The size of the trackpad, I didn't have any issues. But Danish, you've had the 11-inch version, and you actually struggle with the smaller trackpad.
It's horrible, which actually now makes me curious that will there be a size difference? Like, did they just conveniently show the larger sized trackpad and didn't mention that the 11 has a smaller trackpad, which is something I think I'm curious to check out when the products release. But listen, the Magic Keyboard is an absolutely fantastic product. It's so good. Don't get me wrong, it is unbelievably expensive. I'm sorry, an accessory should not be 1,500 dirhams.
What?
That's it's okay. Sorry. It's 13.99. Sorry.
Yeah, 11.99 for the
Still,
11-inch and
that's insane.
13.99 for the 13-inch.
I swear to God, the one. So Abbas is using my 12.9-inch keyboard. I swear I bought it on installments for a year. I paid installments for a year for it. Right? It was the most ridiculous. I'm not even joking. Like, I remember this so clearly. I used to live with my parents back then. I was in my room and I clicked the button and I just felt disgusting inside. You know what I mean? I felt disgusting. I was like, you slave. You could have bought something else, but you still went and bought this. Like, I felt horrible about it. But yeah, at least I still have the keyboard, even though I don't have the iPad. I had to sell the iPad at some point, but I kept the keyboard. But
I'm a lot into keyboards, right? You can get a very nice low profile mechanical keyboard for 1/4 of the price, and it'll be much better than the Magic Keyboard.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Sure, you can't fold it in the screen.
Yes, so you're telling me I should carry a Mac keyboard around for the typing
You want
experience.
to pay 1,400 dirhams for a keyboard?
No, of course I don't. But wait, let me see if I can get my hands on it. So because of that, I also have another keyboard, which is the Logi Go. So it's a 200 dirham keyboard that is waterproof. It's waterproof, water resistant, and it's a small keyboard where you just place the iPad on top. But
That
yes,
just looks
but
terrible.
oh, it looks atrocious. It's horrible to type on.
Yeah,
But
I can
but
feel
yeah,
it
yeah,
from
the
here.
pricing on the Magic Keyboard is just is
Yeah.
crazy.
It's a bit too
But
much.
it's an excellent keyboard. Like it's an excellent feel. You instantly kind of get into the zone.
At that
It's
at that price point, I want like a Mr. Bean, emoji. Magic. Like, for the like, what? I still can't get over the price.
Yeah, it's
but
ridiculously
yes.
pricey. The one upgrade that is nice on the Magic Keyboard is, and I say this after taking the iPad with me for work for 1 week and really suffering, is that they finally added that function row, and on that function row you've got the escape key. Because I think so many times you want to go back to what you were doing, and on a
Yeah.
keyboard it's just the escape, which wasn't present on the previous version of this keyboard. So now we finally, I think if, and that's a very big if, I was to purchase this keyboard,
Come
that would
on,
probably be the
Abbas.
biggest reason for me to get it.
Abbas, if you don't buy it, how are we gonna check it out, Abbas? Come on. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I took an iPad with me on work just 2 weeks ago, purely because I knew the new one's coming out, and I'm like, okay, let's see how good the iPad is from a work perspective. And sorry, it just isn't there. I was cursing myself for leaving my MacBook or even a Windows laptop
It's okay,
behind.
Abbas. You can say you were cursing me. It's fine.
Yes, it pretty much started with Danish when he came up with the idea of going to Saudi with the iPad for 1 week, and I'm like, let me see. Let's see
Listen.
if it's back to.
I'm very happy I did that. I'm extremely happy I did that because I have now got the answer that I've been looking for forever, which is that who is the iPad for? It's not a Mac, it's not a smartphone, and now I have the answer, which is that the iPad is a very useful tool for someone who lives in their own world on that iPad. So if you're a photographer and you do a lot of Photoshop and you want that touch interface, you've got an iPad. Video editing, so. I'm not going to say it's awesome. Producer Amara has been checking out DaVinci Resolve. I've been using Final Cut. It's still there, but it obviously can't compare to a Mac. Forget beat a Mac. But that's what it's for. If you do your little emails, your documents, all that you can do on the iPad. You just cannot collaborate on it. The minute any sort of collaborative work starts, where let's say there's just something very simple, let's say files, right? Transferring files is a hellhole on the iPad. It is a hellhole.
Yeah.
Similarly, what happened, Sam? I did a video call with you guys when I was in Saudi. What happened? Screen
I
sharing.
think it was screen sharing, yeah.
Sam had to literally coach me through because he'd done it on his phone. And I think that we've discussed this before. That is the quintessential problem with an iPad. It is a larger phone.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Same thing with me, right? When I was on this work trip, I requested a file from Mustafa on our team and he sent it to me on Google Chat. And I had to send that over to a client and it was just ridiculous. I could not get that file to download on the Files app. It was just ridiculous. So, yeah, the iPad is not a great work device. Okay, you just mentioned that it's not that great for video edit. Well, I'm not going to say it's not that great. The Mac is better at video editing. Photo editing. Let's take photos, for example.
Right.
Is that something you'd prefer on an iPad or a Mac?
iPad, any day of the week.
Okay,
Now,
so that's
again,
one thing.
Please let me just state this very clearly because Amara, I'm sure, is listening to this. I am still at a very amateur level, but at my level, everything I need to do is just faster on a touchscreen. It's so fast. It's miles ahead for me personally. So I definitely prefer that. And with video, it's the credit where credit's due. They're how they claim that they took Final Cut and re-engineered it for touch. They did that also really well. So that would be my answer for photo editing.
Fair enough. So look, the real reason I took the iPad with me when I went on my work trip was that I had seen half of Fallout and I really wanted to see the other half, and the Mac doesn't allow you to download the episodes, at least legally it doesn't. You've got the Amazon Prime app on the iPad that I could just download all the episodes before I left, which is what I did. It was fantastic to watch the shows on. But now that I think about it, the Apple Vision Pro would have been an even better option to take along, just for watching, watching shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think for my next trip, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack my Mac and Vision Pro and take those with me to see how that works,
I
from
agree with
both
you.
work and play. So
I
for me, the iPad gets lost between these two devices because the iPad was good for entertainment, but the Vision Pro is better for entertainment. And the iPad is fine for work, but the Mac to me is much better for work. And I think unless you're someone who really needs to use the Apple Pencil, if that is part of your workflow, great. The iPad is a fantastic device
Yeah.
for you. And on the other side of things, if you're a very casual computer user, the iPad Air, I think, is a phenomenal device. But anyone who wants to do slightly more than casual computing,
Yeah.
or does not need a pencil in particular for drawing or whatever else it is, I think a Mac or a Windows laptop or PC is probably a better option.
Agreed. The iPad just doesn't have a future if it continues on the path it's on. It will get lost somewhere along the way. They have to re-engineer the operating system from top to bottom. They have to. And the fact that they call it iPad OS and it does everything a phone does is just beyond stupid. I don't mind if it's a halfway point between Mac OS and iOS. But right now, it's so much closer to iOS that it just makes no sense to call it iPad OS.
Yeah,
Like, it's just got a few
that's
gestures.
yeah. That's why when the iPads came out, the new ones, and I saw the news like, oh, it's a spec upgrade. That's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything because even if you buy the older iPads, they work just fine.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't need the M2 and the M4s to have a faster experience. It's the same thing. So Apple really needs to think about like what they want to do with the iPads, because next year if they announce new ones and it's just being a spec upgrade, then what's the point of releasing new versions
Agreed.
when it's just the same, like
Listen, there are a lot of rumors that Apple kind of knows this and apparently the next iPad OS will be the beginning of that change. No idea how far it's true, no idea whether these rumors are accurate or whatever, but I can't imagine that the four of us are talking about this and this is not a discussion somewhere in Apple as well. You know what I mean? I can't imagine that. The only problem is that they are Apple. So they won't just be like, hey, we messed this up. Let's just change things around. No. They'll be like, we destroyed iOS, destroyed macOS, and we've created something all new, and it took 80 billion in R&D. Like, that's Apple for you. That's the problem. And in the end, like, us consumers suffer because of their sort of quote-unquote ways. So,
yeah, it's not a bug, it's a feature.
Yeah, it's never a bug. What bugs? Apple doesn't have bugs. How dare you, Wolf? How dare you?
Well, curiously, this new iPad or these new models of iPads are being released just a month ahead of WWDC.
Yep.
So who knows what they show, let's see.
Someone put up a post the other day saying that I might be misquoting this, but basically, apparently June 10th is a very big day for iPads. And this year's WWDC is on June 10th. So someone was saying that that's a big sign that like iPads will be the star of the year as such, that like they have the new iPads and they'll have a new iPad OS and so on and so forth. I don't have that much faith in Apple. I'm not going to lie. I just don't.
Well, they do have the fastest processor that Apple makes on any computer right now.
Yeah, but what this is the point, right? So what are they gonna do with it? I don't know. Like, okay,
Let's see.
One of the things that Apple absolutely needs to do with the iPad and maybe the iPhone as well is file management.
yeah,
Basic,
100%.
not basic file management. Like that thing has passed. We need advanced file management where you can transfer files properly, normally like normal users,
Agreed.
and then that will bring all of the changes that you need to make the iPad something that you can take around instead of your MacBook.
Yeah, fair.
Yep.
I know it file management, like it's these crucial things which they just need to adapt. They just have
Yeah.
to. You can't transfer pictures normally. Like it's a
Yeah.
3-step process to transfer just images
Yeah.
from a drive. It's ridiculous. But anyway, wrapping up the Apple conversation, the last thing I want to talk about was that there's now an Apple Pencil Pro. We have a new Pro device, and this one's a little bigger, has a squeeze function, understands rotation due to gyro.
Gyroscope. Yep.
Yeah, has a new haptic feedback thingy, which as you rotate will make you feel. And apparently, the feedback is so good that based on the type of tip you're using, so let's say it's a calligraphy pen. A calligraphy pen apparently feels a certain way on paper, and apparently the haptic engine can replace that. So, not replace that, sorry, replicate that. So, again, so for example, a watercolor brush is smooth, it drags across paper. So, apparently, you can feel that as well. So, very curious. I actually don't know the price. Abbas, do you know the price of the Apple Pencil Pro?
529 dirhams.
My God. So, you're spending $1,000 if you just want a keyboard and a pencil.
Yep.
Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent.
Not
Did we
$1,000.
cover pricing though
yeah.
for the actual
More than that.
devices though?
We did not. We
For
did not.
the
Yes.
yeah.
So the
Here, I
iPad
can
Air,
pull those up.
the iPad
iPad
Air,
starts at 2,499 dirhams. This is the
Yep.
11-inch Wi-Fi version. That is my other thing with Apple now. The iPad Pro should have had 5G built in across the line, but no, they are segmenting that between Wi-Fi and 5G versions as well.
Wow.
Well, to throw in a bone, they're doubling the base storage, which used to be 64 GB to 128 GB
No
on the
way.
iPad Air
So
now.
generous. Apple is so
generous of
generous. Damn, 24 years where Apple is generous.
So yeah, so the base storage starts at 2499 for the iPad Air 11 and 3299 for the iPad Air 13. If you go for a fully decked out iPad Air 13 with the keyboard and the pen and everything, you are paying 7,627 dirhams on the high end.
what is that? $2,000?
Yeah, roughly $2,000.
Roughly
And
$1,800.
that's the Air. That's not the Pro. Now, if we
Yeah.
move on to Pro's side, the Pro starts at 4199 for the 11-inch for the 256 gig version, 5,500 for the 13-inch iPad Pro version.
Okay, $1,300.
These are the base levels, exactly.
Yeah.
And if you want to go all out and treat yourself to the best that Apple has to offer, you will be spending 11,207 dirhams on the iPad Pro
Holy
with 2
cow.
terabyte nano texture display, the keyboard, the pen in 13-inch form factor.
Imagine spending 11,000 dirhams, right?
Mhm.
And you can't transfer files. Just saying.
I think you just went mic drop.
Yeah. That's Mook's hook for the episode, as always, providing hooks left, right, and center.
All right, so moving away from Apple, let's turn our attention to Huawei that held its global launch here in our backyard in Dubai. Everyone from all over the world was invited to see some of the new products that they showcased. It was a nice, fancy event held at the Atlantis Royal. Of course, it was, it was packed. It was a packed event. I couldn't believe the number of people that were actually attending that event.
How many do you think were there? I think there were like 1,000 people.
A lot of people were there. I don't know. I mean, it was just packed.
Like-
the whole hall was completely packed.
The easy thing I could tell you is I counted, and this is while like things were in action, I counted 18 valet guys.
Wow. Yeah, no,
18,
I
like
think
while in action. So there would be others around. I counted 18. Like cars were just like zip, 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 zip. That's the only way they could manage it. That's how big the event was.
now that you say that, it's funny how when I exited the event, the car didn't take as long as it normally takes.
Yeah.
To get there. Normally I have to wait at least half an hour, 40 minutes to get my car. I think 10 to 12 minutes and the car was there. So that was pretty
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the
at
event, what was
yeah. So tons of new devices from Huawei at the event. There were wearables, there were laptops, tablets, a lot of devices on there. Let's sort of break it down one by one, and let's start with the Apple Watch Ultra Mini Edition. Sorry, the Huawei Watch Fit 3. That's the one that we're looking at. Yes, that right
Wow.
there. To me, it looks exactly like the Apple Watch Ultra, just a tinier version of it. Danish, you've played this watch. You've had this
Yeah.
watch with you. Tell me a little bit about this.
So the watch is, I will not lie to you when I say this. I'm really glad you said that out in the open, because it's a super powerful device. First and foremost, they moved to the quote unquote squarish shape because it looks quote unquote more premium, because quote unquote people will like having it on their hand. So they just couldn't say quote unquote we copied Apple, because Apple is synonymous with watch. But the Watch Fit 3 is really nice. Since we were talking about price, Sam and Moof, can you guess the price of the watch based on
Like
what
the
you've seen?
Ultra, right?
Yes.
This
Like
is
it's
the
powerful.
premium version, right?
No, it's
It
not.
looks like the Ultra.
It looks like the Ultra.
It's going to be stupidly
1,899.
low.
Okay, 1899. Sam,
Sam?
and we're talking 80 dirhams.
Yes, dirhams.
Okay. Sam?
1199.
Okay, excellent. The price is a whopping 529 dirhams with 200 dirhams worth of gifts. And if they use our code AETBreak1, they will get another 15% off on this powerful device, which has the nice 1.82-inch display, has the crown on the side, as you can see, where it has one of the versions with a red crown. It has multiple straps, and it has fitness animations. And I swear to God, it has animations. So if you go to the fitness section and you click on a particular workout, there'll be a dude or a lady on your watch going like, do this and do this,
wow.
and giving you the actions all through. It also has a calorie counter. Obviously, that needs a manual input. It also has a heart rate monitor with ECG and the other thing to check the arrhythmia. That. So yeah, 500 dirhams.
Wait,
That's
wait,
a
wait, wait.
bargain.
What's the catch? Why
There
is
is
this
no
so cheap?
catch.
Then why does it look like, from the video that I'm seeing, it looks premium. It
Here,
looks fast.
I'll show it to you
It
right
is.
here.
It is
It
all
is.
of that. It is
It's
all
all
of
of that.
Why is it cheap?
It is the anti-Apple conversation right now, because they are going another route. They're like, we'll give you everything and we'll give it cheap and affordable. And I promise you, when I say this device in my hand right now, it does not feel cheap. Now, does it feel premium or ultra premium? Of course not. It does not. But right now, it feels great. I wore it for, I think, about 3-4 days continuously to get some stats onto it. Sleep monitoring was great on it. I actually found it recognized a few things in my sleep that my Apple Watch Ultra did not. And yes, if you're going to ask the question, I slept with 2 watches on my hand. But yeah, that's basically the Watch Fit 3, and really affordable watch on their part.
Absolutely. I think the price point is phenomenal. The only thing they ask you is to ignore the footnote which says that all conversations and camera footage on this watch will be sent to Huawei servers somewhere sitting in China. Ignore
That's
that little
the
footnote on
catch.
there. And used for
That's-
training.
Shush, guys, shush. There's no need to speak ill of Huawei. Leave Huawei alone.
All right, so moving on from the budget to the very high end,
Yes.
they also showcase the Huawei Watch 4 Pro Space Edition. Now, this is a titanium-based watch. It looks stunning. The screen is massive. It's got eSIM capabilities. It looks great, and it feels, or it looks like it might be weighty, but it's actually quite light because of titanium that they've used on there. It's got some lava-based themes, which look interesting, I guess, if you like that look of it. But overall, a very premium-looking watch. Now, this is the Huawei Watch 4 Pro, just a newer look of it. So it's not a new watch completely. It's just
Right.
that the Huawei Watch 4 Pro in a new look, in this Space Edition look, which I think looks stunning, looks beautiful.
I think it looks great. The price, I don't think was announced yesterday, because I also don't see it on their website. The regular
Yeah,
watch
I didn't catch it.
was 2,400, excuse me. I think this will come around the 5,000 or 6,000 range. I would assume so.
Is it the same material? So like the Space Edition is specifically that it uses
So
titanium,
no,
or
it's not
it's
just
the same on the other
titanium.
one?
It's if you want, I'll tell you the exact terminology. It is space age aesthetics with crafted
Aerospace
ceramic.
grade DLC titanium.
There we go. That's the one.
Yeah.
DLC.
But no,
Aero-
Sam, to answer your question, the regular Watch 4 Pro did not come with this finish. It had a steel version on it. So
Yeah.
Okay.
this does
So
have a more premium.
let me read you some of Huawei's words. This watch feels buoyant, but is built to last with its lightweight titanium case and tough as nails, diamond-like carbon coating. Get that? Tough as nails, diamond-like carbon. Wired sentence. Love it.
Let's crack
Which
some walnuts with it.
Ooh.
We did that with the old Huawei phone, remember? With the Kunlun glass?
Yeah,
Kunlun
yeah.
glass. Yeah. We did. So yeah, man, it's they've taken everything that the Watch 4 had and gone ultra high end with it.
So the next thing we looked at were the laptops, the new Huawei MateBooks, and those were my favorite bits of the evening. Now, Huawei showcased two different laptops. One was the MateBook X Pro, which is their flagship laptop, and what a stunning device this is.
Stunning.
It is just beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's top of the line as far as specs are concerned. It doesn't have a dedicated GPU, but that's a story for another day. But it has the latest Intel Core Ultra 9 processor with the Intel Arc GPU. You've got it loaded with RAM and SSD, and it weighs under 1 kilogram. It's just 980 or somewhere around that. So you pick it up and it is super light, super premium. In fact, I've got one here for review, and it's a great little device. I love it. One of the cool things that we didn't get to see yesterday was Huawei claims that when you open the laptop or turn the lid on, it literally just powers up within a second. So it's instant. There's no need to sort of wait for it. It's just bam, go on there. It's a super thin device as well. It's got two USB ports on one side and another one on one side. So like the MacBook Pro, you can charge it from either end
Right.
that you like it. I think they've done a phenomenal job with this laptop.
I could not believe it. Like, first and foremost, just the texture. Like, it's not as visible in the video that we're using, but it's gloss. No, not frosty
matte.
white.
Yeah.
Like it's matte. It looks so nice, and even the color you have. I don't know what the color is called exactly,
The green,
but
yeah.
the green, it looks so
Yep.
good. Lightweight. It felt premium. It didn't have a creak in it, at least from what I saw.
Yep.
So yeah,
And,
really
yeah.
nice.
We could lift the screen with one finger.
Yes,
So
we
that was,
could. We could.
I was
Yes,
just
we
about
could
to
lift-
ask that.
Yeah.
Speaking of the screen, it's a 3K OLED screen. So, super high resolution, beautiful screen. Do we have a pricing for this, Danish?
I don't remember them giving one. I can check. But while I'm doing that, I wanted to know from Sam and Muf, first of all, have you guys experienced Huawei laptops in any way, shape, or form?
I have not.
Okay. Do you have an opinion? If we were to put a Huawei laptop in front of you right now, would you consider it? Would you be against it? What would be your thought process?
Not that it's specific to Huawei. Any Windows laptop from a work standpoint, no. Because the whole Apple ecosystem, transferring files, airdropping, like I love that experience. But this reminds me of, I don't know if you guys remember, a couple of years ago with Computex, MSI launched a laptop which was also it was under 1 kilogram, didn't have a dedicated GPU, but it looks very similar in that regard, like ultra portable, very nice premium product.
This whole business of under 1 kg has been around for a while. But listen, a light laptop is a light laptop, and to pack that much power in, as long as the laptop, I think, stays cool, I think it's good. Abbas, to answer your question, the device is for dirhams 7,000.
Gotcha. No, it is a
And-
premium device all out.
Yeah.
It is. It sure is. So
So-
I'm not surprised at that.
To compete with that, they did show off the Matebook 14 as well.
Yep. But before we move on to MateBook 14, the briefing that we had for the MateBook X Pro, the punchline was lighter than an Air, more powerful than a Pro.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
it's nice. I mean, it's a very subtle but a very good poof knock on to that. So, but very well done on that. The other laptop that we got to see was the Huawei MateBook 14. Now,
Right.
this is positioned slightly below the MateBook X Pro that we just looked
Yes.
at. It's still a great laptop. It's a 14-inch laptop with, I think, a 2.8K OLED panel.
OLED.
So
Yes.
it's not as high resolution as the old one or the other one. But it's got this interesting keyboard design where there's no bridge under the keyboard. So it's a flat surface from left to right on which the keys kind of stick out. Normally, what you have is you've got the keyboard is actually under a slightly curved sort of, it kind of dips inside where you've got the keys, but this one's like literally just straight flat out. Interesting design choice for sure. It supposedly has great battery life, 19-hour battery life. So it's thicker than the MateBook X
Nice.
Pro, and that just a bigger battery sort of gives that away. So from that angle, it's your workhouse laptop basically. So yeah, I mean, if that's something that
I
you're looking
think
for,
I think they haven't sent a price in their press release, but I think it'll be in the under 4,000 dirham category.
I think so as well.
And listen, I've since Huawei had laptops, we've been getting them for review, and I think that their mid-range and base laptops are just such good value for money. I do think that even this laptop will be a good one.
No, absolutely agree with you. In fact, I think if there's any Windows laptop manufacturer that I would consider if I'm not using the MacBook Pro, it would either be the Huawei or the ThinkPad Carbon.
Yeah.
Those are the two. Those are the only
Agreed.
two that I would sort of consider. I think they're both phenomenal Windows laptops.
And last but not least, at the Huawei event, we also got to see, first and foremost, their new MatePad paper mat edition. Now, if someone doesn't know what this is basically a regular tablet, nice, powerful, has some good specs, but has an anti-reflective coating, which they do not charge extra money for technically, and it absolutely kills reflections. Its primary purpose is to write, to sketch, to draw. So they also announced their new app, which is called GoPaint, which is to compete with Procreate, you told me, Abbas.
Yep, exactly. So
So-
GoPaint started off as a competition for artists to showcase their drawings using the Huawei Pencil or
Okay.
pen or whatever they call it. And now they've converted it into a full-blown app. So it's actually an app now that you can use to create and do stuff.
Yeah. So I think that they've clearly got a direction going for themselves.
Yeah, maybe your next tattoo artist is going to be using Procreate, GoPaint on his.
Maybe,
That's
maybe,
nice,
highly
yeah.
possible. Highly possible. But yeah, so that was one. Also, on the video right now is my amazing sketch work. You all may be impressed and call me awesome.
Let's just say you
Wow.
won't be getting any calls for tattoos anytime soon.
That is true. That is true. That is true and fair. But listen, I think that drawing this little thing that I was doodling on it was super easy. It understood what I was aiming for with my hand. The textures, the line width, all was really good. So it's not a bad device. I actually have the previous version of the paper mat edition as well. And I think it's a really, really good tablet. You do obviously struggle a bit with apps, not too difficult. Use your Go box and whatnot to get Google apps on it. But nice device. Overall, good device.
Yeah, but Android apps on tablets suck anyway, so I'd much
Yeah.
rather use the web browser version of them.
Agreed.
Whether it's Notion, whether it's email, I'd just use the web browser version of it.
Agreed. All right. So moving on from the tablets, the last things that Huawei showed was the FreeBuds 6i, which is their latest, I guess, their flagship earbuds. Pretty simple, straightforward. They've got a stem on them. They have a new active noise cancellation. Abbas, you put them on for a second. What did the grip and the feel? Was it like
Yeah,
an
no,
AirPod, better,
it's-
worse?
It's super light. It's super light, super comfortable. Didn't even feel that they were on there. And when a call came through, I wasn't sure if it was my Ray-Bans that were playing the call audio or was the Huawei FreeBuds that I was listening to. But no, I mean, I don't think they're their premium or high-end version. I think they're more on the
Oh,
medium or affordable version of it. I think FreeBuds Pro is
you're
probably
right.
something that they
You're
charge a
right.
little
You're
bit more
right.
for.
You're right. You're
But
absolutely right.
these were really nice. These were really easy to stick into your ear, comfortable, light, did the job well.
Fair, fair.
Cool.
And then the last thing that they showed, which is just like a color update, is that the free clips now have a beige version, which is matte, which I think look stunning because the last ones were shiny and black and very standout. I think this would look very nice on your skin. It would almost be invisible, well, at least on fair skin. But yeah, I think that's a cute little update to have to push what's already a really nice product, in my opinion. But yeah, that was pretty much it for the Huawei event.
Yeah, I remember you really
Nice.
liked these when you were reviewing them.
I
I
still
didn't
use
get a chance
them.
to try them. Yeah, but
I
I remember
lit.
you liked them.
It's really funny. I literally opened my AirPods just the other day out of like, oh, like let me at least charge them and use them for a bit. I genuinely, I'm now in a place where either my Huawei free clips or like where the Nothing Ear A when I was using, those two were superior. Just the first thing, connection time, unbelievable. When I used
Okay.
the AirPods yesterday, I'm I'm waiting for what feels like an hour for them to connect. You know, you get a call and you answer the call on your phone and you put your AirPods on in that time. There's a proper
Mm.
lag, whereas Nothing was boop, zip. A second later, Huawei, literally middle of the word, it'll transfer through.
Very
So
nice.
that one point, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm not using my AirPods for very long. This is just like for sentiment's sake that I'm gonna use it for a day or two and put it back.
Let me ask you a
But
question though. Do you
yeah,
use those with your iPhone or with your Android phones?
the AirPods?
No, the Huawei or the Nothing
No, iPhone.
earbuds. You use them with
Like
the iPhone and they're fast with the
as
iPhone.
my permanent, like as my main earbuds, because
Nice.
I take 80% of my calls from my iPhone.
Very
So
nice.
it is stellar in terms of connection. The only thing the Huawei free clips have a big problem with, for me especially as a person with long hair, when I like suppose I'm moving my hair back, even the slightest touch and it loses that position, it thinks it's come off. And it doesn't find that position again. You have to readjust it, and that's where you might
Oh.
lose a connection. Because I spoke to another content creator here in the UAE about the same thing, and he's like, "No, I've never faced this issue because obviously, as a short-haired person, he doesn't touch his ears that much." So that was a very subjective, personal issue, but an issue altogether. I wish the grip on your ear was a little tighter. Like I
Okay.
wouldn't have minded sacrificing a little discomfort for the sake of that tight grip. But maybe the next free clip or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, and taking it away from tech, movies. What do we have coming up, Abbas?
So the big one this week is the new Planet of the Apes movie. Now, I've seen the first one and the second one, but I don't think I've seen the third one. So I don't think I'm going to go see
So
this unless I see the older ones.
one second. So there was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which was the first one. Then there was
I don't know, but I know I've seen two and I know I've missed one, at least one. Maybe
so
there's
the
more than one that I've missed.
so War of the Planet of the Apes.
I
Possible.
think that was the last one.
So so this is the fourth in the same series.
This is the fourth one.
So the
Yeah,
James
so I've
Franco,
seen
what
one and
started
two.
with James Franco.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
So I've seen the first two, but I've missed anything after that. So I'm not sure
Is
if I've missed one or two movies.
is this a theatrical release?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, it is.
So it was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, War of the Planet of the Apes, and now this one,
Kingdom of
Kingdom
the
of the
Planet
Planet of the Apes.
of the Apes.
Kingdom of the Planet
Okay.
of the Apes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair. I guess good for them. Listen, I won't lie. I've enjoyed these movies. I loved the first two. I thought the first two were fantastic. The third one I don't remember that much. Does anyone remember what the third one was? War of the Planet of the Apes? No? Fair. But yeah, I mean, listen, it's a great concept. It'll be okay. I guess it'll be a nice watch in the theater.
Yep, exactly. I think it's people are looking forward to it. Let's just say that. The other one that I did see that came out last weekend was Fall Guy, and this one was with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. And if I was to describe it in one sentence, it would be take a Bollywood movie and make a Hollywood version out of it. And this is exactly what
Okay.
you're going to get. It is super entertaining. Just switch your brain off, non-stop, phenomenal action, and great chemistry between the two. The one-liners are great. It just keeps you going one after the other. Highly recommended. Purely because of the action, you might want to watch it on the big screen just to enjoy that action. Otherwise, you could easily watch it on Netflix or something along those lines. But the two of them are great, probably two of my favorite actors right now. So I really enjoyed watching them together on screen. And again, it really fun movie.
Yeah, because I think the movie was either made by or is conceptualized by someone who's an ex-stunt person. So I think that also was there. And yeah, it was super cool. Did you guys see the thing they did at the premiere?
What was
So
that? No, I
at the
didn't.
premiere, Ryan Gosling shows up wearing the same suit as his stunt doubles, and they're standing next to him and they're all posing. And then they go 1, 2, 3, and then boop, the stunt doubles go through the wall behind them. And like it's a
Okay.
big
Oh,
stunt
wow.
with like effects and stuff. It was really nicely done. It was really
Nice.
nicely done.
Really
Um,
nice.
so yeah,
And the
I'd
director is the
definitely check it
same.
out.
The director is the same one that did Bullet Train with Brad Pitt. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys saw that or not.
Yeah, I
watch
saw
it.
that. That was a good
I
movie.
saw that. I saw.
Yeah, so it's definitely enjoyable. Definitely a lot of fun.
Nice.
And then what do we have? Anything else that's worth watching?
So I started Drops of God on Apple TV. It is basically a show about this girl who is estranged from her father, who is a massive wine connoisseur, and he dies and has a collection worth $148 million.
Wow.
And because he's estranged from her, he also has a student who is Japanese. And the field, I never knew about this, but the field is called eunology, and you can be a eunologist, which is a study of wine and the earth and color and like so much information. It's unreal, but really nice show. And I think I'm about 4 episodes in. Very, very cool. And Apple being Apple gives you a little disclaimer in the start that this is a multilingual show with English, French, and Japanese. Please know that you have all languages available to you in audio as well as subtitles. I'm just like, bro, you wasted 5 minutes of my life for telling me something that is very obvious, but okay, fine. But listen, Apple being Apple, it's also gorgeously shot.
Yeah.
As soon as you are in Japan, it has a certain sort of look and feel. When you're in France, it has a certain look and feel. So really nice show. I'm excited to see how the entire show turns out.
Nice, very nice. Sorry, one more older show that I have been watching, and maybe some of you have already watched it or not. It's The Gentleman on Netflix, the Danny Boyle movie turned show. Has anyone seen it? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm like 3 or 4 episodes in. It's entertaining, but it's also very stupid at the same time.
Let me just
So-
say this. You're at the point where you can switch it off.
Okay, fair enough.
So
yeah, I mean, the
basically,
first 2 episodes were good. The next 2 episodes were strictly mediocre.
Listen, I'll tell you something. First of all, why did you say Danny Boyle? Guy Ritchie.
No, Guy Ritchie. Why did I say
Yes.
Danny Boyle?
I don't know why you said
Yeah.
Danny Boyle. Anyway,
Sorry.
so listen, Guy Ritchie to me is an absolute master, right? The man has stuck by his guns, made a certain type of movie or show, and he is amazing. What happens with The Gentleman is very simple. Because you know Guy Ritchie's style, you know where the show is going to go. Halfway through making this, they're like, oh no, wait, we have extra episodes. Which is like, but I only know how to write 2.5 hours. What do I do? And you will see what he does. So,
All right.
yeah. So that's
Okay.
that's the Gentleman thing. Nice concept. I wouldn't say poorly executed, but I'd just say it could have been a little better. Like maybe if there's a second season or something, they could do it a little better. That's what I would say.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's I think about it for movies and entertainment. and gaming. Move, what are you taking us through today?
Yes. So big news dropped yesterday. Microsoft has closed four of its studios, two of them very big. So one of the studios they closed is Arcane Austin, which made Prey. And also Redfall tanked and they couldn't recover from it. I guess that's why they were closed, but they were a very talented studio. They made great games. So it makes no sense. What makes even more no sense is that they also closed Tango Gameworks. Tango Gameworks made Hi-Fi Rush, which was uh, E- Xbox's one of the best titles they released on their platform for the new console, as well as last year, or it was 2022. And they closed that studio
Mm-hmm.
for no reason at all. Like, they made one of the best games this generation, and
Wow.
then Xbox goes like, you know what, let's close you down, we don't need you.
Oof.
It makes no sense. Hi-Fi Rush, I just started to play the game again. It is so good, it is so great. And for them to come in and then just close the studio and give no real reason why they closed one of the most talented game developers out there is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. They also made Ghostwire
Oh,
Tokyo.
okay.
They made Ghostwire Tokyo, which was another phenomenal game. It didn't sell well, probably didn't score that high, was but it was a
Mm.
very great game, very fresh concept. Yeah.
The
Strange.
I was gonna say that it's yeah, it's a really strange move. But is this a cost cutting thing? Uh, is it a success thing? Is it what's the reasoning? As a non gamer here, I'm trying to understand what's the reasoning for them to take such a harsh decision.
Yeah, it could be cost cutting, but in the email that one of the Xbox executive wrote to the entire Bethesda team is that they
Right.
want to focus on impact titles. What that means, I don't know, but
Oh,
that's where they want to head. Now, for me, I thought that Xbox was going to, because they have acquired so many game devs, right? They have acquired
right.
so many game devs over the past few years. I thought, and everyone thought, that since they have Game Pass, where they can release games, smaller games, high concept games on that platform, so everybody can play for free, that they will allow their developers to release whatever they want to make.
Yeah.
Like
Smaller
more
games, low
freedom,
budget
You had
games.
basically.
you had mentioned this
Yeah,
on one of our previous podcasts as well. Yeah,
yeah,
that was your hope. Yeah.
yeah. And it seems that's not the case, because if Xbox wants to focus on impact titles, what that means to me is that they want to focus on known franchises and known IPs and big names like Star
Hmm.
Wars or Indiana Jones, which they are going to make soon. So now and this news comes at a very bad time. I don't know who manages the overall Xbox PR, because it's a terrible
Okay.
time, because uh, He- Hellblade 2 is going to release in the next 2 weeks,
Okay.
right? So instead of focusing on that, instead of promoting that game, because that's their big title of the year, instead of
Right.
focusing on that, instead of taking the conversation towards that game, which they hope will sell more, they brought this news out, like, and everyone has gone just completely crazy over this. There's a huge backlash and nobody can understand what's happening.
Hmm.
So it's just a mismanagement of just PR and communication. And also, I'm very worried about the developers behind Hellblade 2 now, because they are also a very small team. They are making a very small game, a very polished game, but very small game. It's a
Mm,
story-based game, linear, maybe 6 hours max.
Mm.
And it is quite expensive. It looks very high quality with latest facial animation and motion capture. But will that be enough for Xbox to keep them around?
mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's now I don't know what's going to happen. So absolutely terrible from the Xbox management. Terrible move. I don't know what they're doing after the acquisition of Activision. They have laid off so many employees, so many game developers, and now they have closed 4 studios. Complete garbage move from Xbox.
Really unfortunate. Really
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Damn, you couldn't have ended our podcast on a slightly lighter note.
Yeah, I was just
I
thinking the
asked you for
same,
like
right?
some fun news, and like you just destroyed the entire mood.
On
Give me something
on a
else.
on a lighter note, there's games
Okay.
to play this month.
Let me guess. Hellblade 2 is one of them.
Hellblade 2. By the way, Hellblade 2, I just finished the first game. It is one of the most harrowing games you'll play. So it's not a fun experience. It just it
Explain.
brings you. So in Hellblade 2, the main character has voices speaking inside her mind.
Oh my god.
And they use this 3D audio engine to
Ooh.
make those voices come from behind you, and
Okay.
it's
Wow.
constant throughout those 8 hours.
Oh my God.
They are constantly speaking to you. They're
Wow.
constantly degrading you. They're constantly saying, you can't do it, you can't do it, you will die now, oh, she can't do it. It's
Dang.
constant. It is one of the most
Wow.
harrowing experiences ever.
This
Oh my
would be a
God.
perfect game for Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
This would mess you up.
Oh yes, absolutely. And Hellblade 2 seems like it's gonna go to the extreme. The trailers look very, dark and gritty and bloody, and I'm very excited for the game. Hopefully it'll be good. Ghost of Tsushima 2 is gonna, or 2, I wish it was 2. Ghost of Tsushima, which released on PS5 a few years ago, is now releasing on the PC.
Ah,
It
nice.
will, yeah, fantastic game. Excellent game from uh, Sucker Punch Studios. The PC version will bring higher resolutions, ultra wide support, DLSS, AMD FSR, and all of the other PC focused features. And the other game that one of the big games to release this month, I'm not very i- interested in it, but there is Homeworld 3
Okay.
from Gearbox. It's a real-time strategy game, space adventure. It's a very iconic series, and the third part took a while to release, a few delays, a few years to make, but it's finally going to come out. So yeah,
So
those who like these kind of games.
just to put perspective into it, took them a while to release. The first one came out when I was in college.
Oh shit.
I'll stop at that.
Yo.
Yes.
What are you saying?
Yup.
Oh
The first one
my
came out when I was
God.
at college.
It's a pretty old game. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh damn, that's
Oh, yeah.
crazy. Oh,
And the
oh
second
wow,
one
that
came
really
out
puts
roughly
things into
when then?
perspective. You were in college when I was born.
Oh wow. Okay.
You
then.
went you in college in what year?
1990 to 1995.
Okay, so I'm
91 to
from
95.
when I was 1 to 5. I was born in 89. My God, that really puts things in perspective. Oh, this has been happening to me too much in the last 2-3 months, this age thing. Okay, but last and final, now the one small piece that of gaming news, like you all know this section I'm not super excited about, like y'all can enjoy yourselves. But is there a new Switch coming?
Yes, Switch 2. No details yet.
Okay.
Just very basic rumors here and there that it's going to have this and that, but there's nothing basic because
Whoa, excuse me, slow down. What is this and that? Can you explain that to me, please?
there's not much details. I don't
Okay.
know much about it. Nintendo plays their cards very close to their chest, so
Okay.
very basic stuff releases from them. But hopefully, they will have a faster processor. Of course, they will
Nice.
need something, and they will use AMD FSR to upscale games. So
Right.
hopefully, the Switch will play games at 4K. And
But wait, right now the Switch is only 720p, right?
yes, 720p.
Okay.
720p handheld and 180p on dock, but I could be wrong.
Right. And the
Uh,
handheld is OLED. That's the only
yeah,
nice thing.
you can buy the
OLED version.
OLED version. Yeah, I hope that with the Switch 2 they release just the OLED
OLED
version.
version.
No need for IPS screens anymore. That's old tech. Just get rid of it. But yeah, let's see. They are supposed to announce Switch 2 this year, maybe September-ish, and then
Okay.
release it next year.
Okay.
So let's see what they say about it.
Fair. Sam, why did you laugh at the IPS part? I want to know.
No, because Muffy was just like, just get rid of it. It's not like you have stock on the shelf that you need to utilize and, manage costs and all of that. So,
Baba,
rid of
you're
it.
thinking, why you
OLED,
think about
baby.
Nintendo? Why you think about Nintendo? Think about the consumer.
no,
Yeah,
I'm thinking
well,
about
I don't care
Switch-
about Nintendo.
Switch
Producer
specifically.
Amara says, Sam, ever the sales master. That's true. Coming straight from that sales mind, Sam.
No, but I always remembered with the Switch specifically for the level of hardware that it's at is like quite poor. It's not like the most latest and greatest, but
Yeah, your phones
still,
can run better.
yeah, but it still makes you like the end user, the customer for that kind of product doesn't care about having the latest and greatest hardware specifications. And I like that about Nintendo. It isn't about being like the best and the fastest, whatever. It's
Yeah.
like, this is our product. Done,
Fair.
Yeah, I mean, see, with the Switch 2, I don't expect them to reach the PS5 levels.
Of
They will
course.
release they will release a very, very standard, very custom hardware that is designed to play their games.
Exactly.
You make games on it, that's your problem. But we'll make what we want to make in this hardware. But for OLED, that's a very basic thing. It makes your games
Yeah.
look nice. Just
And-
have it.
To be honest, I'll tell you something, guys. I completely agree with this because when it comes to like me and my wife, for example, when I have a PS4 and sure we've tried a few times, but every time gaming comes up, we both come back to the Switch because just there are certain types of games that we enjoy. Like, for example, the next game I'm going to buy is a game by this artist. I forget. I don't know if Move told me about it. I saw it on socials. But it's a game where this guy drew the entire game for like some 14 or 15 years. He drew it, like hand drew it, and then created a game out of it. Now that's something that like really appeals to me, and I'd love to see it. And obviously it's a simple game. So yeah, I think the Switch's little niche that it's found is really, really nice. It's really fun.
Yeah.
100%.
Sorry, just a quick question for Muff. Muff, what is it other than the OLED across all models that you'd like to see on Switch 2?
Oh, I would. For me, Switch is super uncomfortable.
Okay.
I understand that it needs to be light, it needs to be flat, so you can take it take it in your bag and everything. But I would like better joysticks. Their small, flat joysticks are terrible. You cannot do anything with it. Their ergonomics of the device, they're meant for small hands, like small hands, not normal sized hands. So it's very uncomfortable. I would change all of that, but I don't see Nintendo changing that.
Yeah.
They will go with a very familiar device where you
Plus-
can dock it, they can handle.
Plus, also the Nintendo Switch created its own accessory market.
Yeah.
Like I think Amara has
Exactly.
some beefy Joy-Cons because I saw her
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch once, and I think that she has some beefy Joy-Cons. So I think it's one of those things where they will not do it for the very simple reason that it supports an entire market out there. Maybe they'll have their own option, maybe, but it'll still be an option because that's the
Yeah.
beauty of the Switch, right? It's so customizable. It's so easy to change things around. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, cool. So that was a nice, lengthy episode 11. I hope everyone listening or watching enjoyed. If there is
It was
anything
a
you...
double one shot. Sorry, 11.
No, but we
one
had...
shot.
But we had... Oh, look at you making alcohol jokes of us.
Oh, I did not realize that, but okay, sure.
But no, I hope everyone enjoyed. I hope if there are any comments, please do let us know, depending on where you are consuming this content. Apart from that, my name is Danish. These are my colleagues Abbas, Sam, and Mufaddal, and we will see you at the next one.
Hasta la vista.
Baby.